So we start with our session summary. So please pay attention and listen.
Our analysis today is drawn from Chapter 4 of Information Technology Policy and Strategy by Professor Richard Boateng at the University of Ghana Business School. When executives sit down to draft an IT strategy, the default behavior is to produce a shopping list. They authorize software purchases, approve server upgrades, and renew licensing agreements. Those are procurements, not strategies. A true IT strategy is a calculated response to a business model. It defines exactly how the firm interacts with its environment to create value, and how technology forces that interaction. A plan drawn up on a whiteboard holds no value without the physical capabilities and resources required to execute it. The technology must possess the specific bandwidth, processing power, and architecture to support the firm's chosen market opportunities. If an organization's technological infrastructure operates independently of its core business model, those systems degrade into a massive operational sinkhole. The hardware and software consume capital without driving corporate value. Effective IT planning requires laying out the exact requirements for human capital, infrastructure architectures, and internal policies over a multi-year horizon. When those resources are deployed correctly, they yield three distinct categories of benefits: strategic, informational, and operational. Organizations typically capture operational efficiencies first, streamlining supply chains or automating payroll. From there, they generate informational efficiencies by analyzing the data those operations produce. Only then can they convert those insights into a true strategic market advantage. Consider your own organization's current IT roadmap. Ask yourself how those specific server upgrades and software deployments directly drive a measurable market opportunity for your firm. If the answer is clear, the IT department sheds its reputation as a back-office cost center. It operates as the primary engine for organizational value creation and competitive advantage. Translating abstract business goals into specific technological architectures requires a formal methodology known as Strategic Information Systems Planning, or SISP. It is the deliberate, focused effort to define how IT will drive what an organization does. SISP carries three core mandates. It must forecast exact future resource requirements, secure explicit top management commitment, and lock in the methods the firm will use to leverage technology against competitors. The methodology an organization chooses to achieve this varies. Some rely on highly formal, top-down methods like IBM's Business Systems Planning, while others use informal, bottom-up approaches driven by immediate technological needs. Regardless of framework, SISP is a dynamic process. It evolves continuously alongside the business, rather than sitting on a shelf as a static administrative document. This chart models the typical trajectory of that planning evolution. Notice the starting quadrant at the bottom right. Organizations frequently begin with isolated computer planning, reacting to immediate problems, before eventually maturing into a unified, proactive stance across the entire firm. Vague technological ambitions do not deploy servers or write code. SISP is the required methodology to translate those ambitions into a rigorous, actionable corporate roadmap. Executing SISP generally follows 5 sequential steps: strategic awareness, situation analysis, strategy conception, strategy formulation, and strategy implementation. We see these steps cascade down in the Rayner model. The flow starts at the top with organization mission and business assessment, forging the organization's strategic plan. That high-level plan filters down to define the specific information systems strategic plan. However, the strategy must contend with physical reality. The organization's current IT architecture acts as a strict constraint or a potential enabler when executing that strategic plan. Finally, the strategy translates into execution. The IS strategic plan cascades down into a new IT architecture, which requires highly granular operational and development plans to build and maintain the physical systems. IT architecture is never drafted in a vacuum. Every switch, router, and database schema must originate as a direct downstream cascade from the highest level organizational mission. To evaluate where IT investments have actually been made, Nolan and McFarland developed the strategic grid. This matrix classifies IT investments into 4 distinct categories based on organizational dependency. The grid is dictated by two opposing axes. The vertical axis measures the firm's need for highly reliable daily IT operations. The horizontal axis measures the need for new, disruptive technologies to remain competitive. In the bottom left, the support quadrant holds systems with low operational and strategic impact. They are necessary, but don't drive business forward. Above, factory systems are critical to operations, but offer little future advantage. On the bottom right, turnaround systems form the backbone for future strategic pivots. Finally, the top right holds the strategic quadrant. Their massive operational impact and continued development dictate the firm's future competitive survival. Look at your firm's current capital expenditure requests. Map each major project into one of these four quadrants to reveal your true organizational priorities. Effective management requires moving beyond simple categorization to measure the actual success of the planning process. Seekers and Grover provide a four-dimensional framework for this assessment. The first two dimensions are alignment and analysis. Alignment measures how well IT understands top management priorities, while analysis measures how accurately IT maps the internal process needs of various subunits. The final two dimensions are cooperation and capabilities. Cooperation measures the ability to resolve cross-departmental friction, and capabilities reflect the continuous improvement of the planning system itself. Without mapping projects and measuring the planning process, executives fly blind. They authorize capital for misclassified strategic projects that are actually simply low-impact support tasks. Because market conditions, consumer preferences, and technological capabilities change rapidly, perfect alignment between IT and business strategy is an elusive moving target. Henderson and Venkatraman designed the strategic alignment model to navigate this constant volatility. The framework relies on four distinct blocks: business strategy, IT strategy, organizational processes, and IT infrastructure. Strategic fit occurs when an organization connects high-level strategies directly down to their physical and operational infrastructures. Functional integration builds on this by establishing horizontal connections between the business side and IT side, ensuring strategies and processes communicate constantly. Building these connections is evolutionary. Luftman's maturity assessment demonstrates that organizations must develop specific enablers, like cross-functional education and rigorous communication protocols, to mature their alignment. Sustaining alignment requires constant top management support, strict ownership of specific processes, and the active minimization of departmental friction between business units and IT staff. IT business alignment is never a completed checkbox on a management review. It is a permanent, dynamic state of corporate balancing. The theoretical frameworks of SISP and strategic alignment seem academic until an organization ignores them. In 2007, the British Broadcasting Corporation initiated the Digital Media Initiative, aiming to transition their entire production process to a tapeless, digital workflow. 6 years later, the BBC abandoned the project entirely. The complete systemic collapse resulted in a total loss of £98.4 million of public money. The project collapsed because the IT strategy completely detached from actual organizational processes and the daily realities of end users. The technology was built in a silo. The BBC ignored the basic principles of strategic information systems planning. They attempted to implement a rigid architecture and failed to adapt the technology to the rapidly changing strategic realities of digital media production. Furthermore, the project suffered a catastrophic failure in cooperation. There was a profound lack of communication, testing, and mutual understanding between top management and the IT architects designing the system. Professor Boateng's analysis highlights a crucial reality. Business and technology are highly volatile entities. Attempting to manage them with static, inflexible plans is incredibly dangerous. Organizations must cultivate dynamic capabilities, the agility to constantly perceive threats, evaluate opportunities, and steer the firm toward near-perfect alignment. It is the only way to prevent multi-million-dollar catastrophes and secure a competitive future. Because market conditions, consumer preferences, and technological capabilities change rapidly, perfect alignment between IT and business strategy is an elusive moving target. Henderson and Venkataraman designed the strategic alignment model to navigate this constant volatility. The framework relies on 4 distinct blocks: business strategy, IT strategy, organizational processes, and IT infrastructure. Strategic fit connects high-level strategies down to their respective physical and operational infrastructures. Functional integration establishes direct horizontal connections between the business side and the IT side, ensuring strategies and processes communicate constantly. Building these connections is evolutionary. Jerry Luftman's maturity assessment demonstrates that organizations must develop highly specific enablers, like cross-functional education and rigorous communication protocols, to mature their alignment. Sustaining this alignment requires constant top management support, strict ownership of specific processes, and the active minimization of departmental friction between business units and IT staff. IT business alignment is never a completed checkbox on a management review. It is a permanent, dynamic state of corporate balancing. The theoretical frameworks of CISP and strategic alignment seem academic until an organization ignores them. In 2007, the British Broadcasting Corporation initiated the massive Digital Media Initiative, aiming to transition their entire production process to a tapeless, digital workflow. 6 years later, the BBC abandoned the project entirely. The complete systemic collapse resulted in a total loss of £98.4 million of public money. The Digital Media Initiative collapsed because the IT strategy completely detached from the actual organizational processes and the daily realities of the end users. The technology was built in a silo. The BBC ignored the basic principles of strategic information systems planning. They attempted to implement a rigid architecture and failed to adapt the technology to the rapidly changing strategic realities of digital media production.
Good morning once again, and welcome back to our section. We watched our session summary, which is always good. I don't know whether you make notes when you are watching this summaries. It's very important. Sometimes I even quiz students just based on the summary. But the reason why I do this summary is because it helps you to get a snapshot of what we are trying to do and cover in the session and maybe the session after. And we also try to help get a different perspective of what's written in the textbook. I know some of you don't have the text and some of you have it. So at least I want to give you an intro into all that the things that the text is saying and give you some practical examples of how the thematic areas we are covering are discussed in the global perspective. So please pay attention when we are playing this particular video. So let me just get it. What did you hear? I want to hear from you, some of you that listened. You can raise your hand. I don't want to call your name, so raise your hand and just tell me what's something that you heard or you made note of whilst you are listening to the sessions, the audio. Yes. Or I should play the whole thing again.
Yes, Prof.
Yes, sir.
Jima, you that I was counting on you that you listen, I should play the whole thing again. Okay, so now let's listen with it. Then just imagine that after that, Pro can do a quiz just based on that. You know, these videos are on YouTube. You don't go there to go and watch. They're already on YouTube. Hmm? When you go to YouTube, I put the session video links on the class page before. Hmm? They're all on YouTube for you to watch it. Let me put it in the it's interesting. Let me put it in the class page. Then we'll listen again. You say you want to listen again, so listen. In fact, listening is important because the text is confusing for the first timer. So until sometimes you don't listen, you may not have a very good appreciation of what you are discussing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a direct link to all the videos. You just have to look for session 4. Um, yeah, this is a direct link to all the videos. So check it. I put it there for you to look at it. Hey, all of you are fast too. Somebody has come to put the playlist there. Thank you.
Welcome,
So
Prof.
you have it and you have not been watching. The regular students, they even ask for it before the session. The prof, we are coming to class. Give us the video. Let's watch. So we can ask you questions. And it always helps in the engagement. So let's just watch it one more time. Please take pen and paper. Write certain things. There are different aspects of the video. The first part of the video explains what strategy is. The second part of the video explains what strategic information system planning, that how we develop strategies, the process we go through. Then it tells you about the different methods people use to develop it. One of the methods is called, so please take note so that if you are watching, you can understand. One of the methods, okay, one of the methods is called the business systems planning method, the pro planner, the information engineering, and then method itself, the word called method. So these are the different popular approaches that people use from Ledra and set. They summarizes 4 approaches. Now, among the 4 approaches, another one was processed and proposed by L. L talked about the business-led approach, the method-driven approach, the administrative approach, the technology-driven approach, the organization approach. Whether you are using the address approach or you are using L's approach, all of them are trying to look at how people develop their plan for the information systems in different perspectives. So there's the LEDRA approach, and then there is the L approach. The L approach is 6, the LEDRA approach is 4. Please just keep that in mind. And I'm mentioning them again. So if you are listening to it, you listen well. Sometimes they don't cover everything, but they mention it. Business system planning, pro planner, information engineering, and then method and that will give you the level approach. And the SETI approach is the business-led, method-driven, administrative, technology-driven, organizational, and then yeah, technological and organizational. Now, apart from that, I also talk to you about the steps in doing the planning process. So common to all the approaches are steps. I will talk about 5 steps. We have got strategic awareness, situation analysis, strategy conception, strategy formulation, and strategy implementation. Then I take you to different people and how they outline the steps. So we have the RENA steps model, and then let me just use this one. So I was talking about this. The steps are strategic awareness, situation analysis, strategic conception, strategy formulation, strategy implementation. So this is the RENA steps that they are using. Now, these are the actual steps, not just approach, the steps that you follow. Then I go on to talk about the word that is not captured there, but maybe the word one is there here. And then there's also the development part from Delius. All these are different ways, steps that people take, depending on the type of organization that you have and what type of system, what the purpose of the purpose the system will serve or the technology will serve. I think you saw this one, McFarland's IT upgrade. That helps you to evaluate between the IT strategy and the business strategy and operations. Then from here, we talked about what causes success, IT success, alignment, analysis, cooperation, capabilities. Then he then went to apply to different examples, including that from BBC. Then we talk about we try to talk about how why alignment is very important and how to achieve alignment. So these are the things that are covered in the video. So watch it again. They may not cover everything in section in detail, but it's about just a 10-minute video. Let's watch it again and then we can come back and then start the session. So take your pen and paper and then put certain things down so that you can actually ask relevant questions. But I am happy about your honesty that we should play it again. So I'm not worried about that. So I'm just sharing the video again. Last. Thank you.
Our analysis today is drawn from Chapter 4 of Information Technology Policy and Strategy by Professor Richard Boateng at the University of Ghana Business School. When executives sit down to draft an IT strategy, the default behavior is to produce a shopping list. They authorize software purchases, approve server upgrades, and renew licensing agreements. Those are procurements, not strategies. A true IT strategy is a calculated response to a business model. It defines exactly how the firm interacts with its environment to create value, and how technology forces that interaction. A plan drawn up on a whiteboard holds no value without the physical capabilities and resources required to execute it. The technology must possess the specific bandwidth, processing power, and architecture to support the firm's chosen market opportunities. If an organization's technological infrastructure operates independently of its core business model, those systems degrade into a massive operational sinkhole. The hardware and software consume capital without driving corporate value. Effective IT planning requires laying out the exact requirements for human capital, infrastructure architectures, and internal policies over a multi-year horizon. When those resources are deployed correctly, they yield 3 distinct categories of benefits: strategic, informational, and operational. Organizations typically capture operational efficiencies first, streamlining supply chains or automating payroll. From there, they generate informational efficiencies by analyzing the data those operations produce. Only then can they convert those insights into a true strategic market advantage. Consider your own organization's current IT roadmap. Ask yourself how those specific server upgrades and software deployments directly drive a measurable market opportunity for your firm. If the answer is clear, the IT department sheds its reputation as a back-office cost center. It operates as the primary engine for organizational value creation and competitive advantage. Translating abstract business goals into specific technological architectures requires a formal methodology known as Strategic Information Systems Planning, or SISP. It is the deliberate, focused effort to define how IT will drive what an organization does. SISP carries 3 core mandates. It must forecast exact future resource requirements, secure explicit top management commitment, and lock in the methods the firm will use to leverage technology against competitors. The methodology an organization chooses to achieve this varies. Some rely on highly formal, top-down methods like IBM's Business Systems Planning, while others use informal, bottom-up approaches driven by immediate technological needs. Regardless of framework, SISP is a dynamic process. It evolves continuously alongside the business, rather than sitting on a shelf as a static administrative document. This chart models the typical trajectory of that planning evolution. Notice the starting quadrant at the bottom right. Organizations frequently begin with isolated computer planning, reacting to immediate problems, before eventually maturing into a unified, proactive stance across the entire firm. Vague technological ambitions do not deploy servers or write code. SISP is the required methodology to translate those ambitions into a rigorous, actionable corporate roadmap. Executing SISP generally follows 5 sequential steps: strategic awareness, situation analysis, strategy conception, strategy formulation, and strategy implementation. We see these steps cascade down in the Rayner model. The flow starts at the top with organization mission and business assessment, forging the organization's strategic plan. That high-level plan filters down to define the specific information systems strategic plan. However, the strategy must contend with physical reality. The organization's current IT architecture acts as a strict constraint or a potential enabler when executing that strategic plan. Finally, the strategy translates into execution. The IS strategic plan cascades down into a new IT architecture, which requires highly granular operational and development plans to build and maintain the physical systems. IT architecture is never drafted in a vacuum. Every switch, router, and database schema must originate as a direct downstream cascade from the highest level organizational mission. To evaluate where IT investments have actually been made, Nolan and McFarland developed the strategic grid. This matrix classifies IT investments into 4 distinct categories based on organizational dependency. The grid is dictated by 2 opposing axes. The vertical axis measures the firm's need for highly reliable daily IT operations. The horizontal axis measures the need for new, disruptive technologies to remain competitive. In the bottom left, the support quadrant holds systems with low operational and strategic impact. They are necessary but don't drive business forward. Above, factory systems are critical to operations but offer little future advantage. On the bottom right, turnaround systems form the backbone for future strategic pivots. Finally, the top right holds the strategic quadrant. Their massive operational impact and continued development dictate the firm's future competitive survival. Look at your firm's current capital expenditure requests. Map each major project into one of these 4 quadrants to reveal your true organizational priorities. Effective management requires moving beyond simple categorization to measure the actual success of the planning process. Seekers and Grover provide a 4-dimensional framework for this assessment. The first 2 dimensions are alignment and analysis. Alignment measures how well IT understands top management priorities, while analysis measures how accurately IT maps the internal process needs of various subunits. The final 2 dimensions are cooperation and capabilities. Cooperation measures the ability to resolve cross-departmental friction, and capabilities reflect the continuous improvement of the planning system itself. Without mapping projects and measuring the planning process, executives fly blind. They authorize capital for misclassified strategic projects that are actually simply low-impact support tasks. Because market conditions, consumer preferences, and technological capabilities change rapidly, perfect alignment between IT and business strategy is an elusive moving target. Henderson and Venkatraman designed the strategic alignment model to navigate this constant volatility. The framework relies on 4 distinct blocks: business strategy, IT strategy, organizational processes, and IT infrastructure. Strategic fit occurs when an organization connects high-level strategies directly down to their physical and operational infrastructures. Functional integration builds on this by establishing horizontal connections between the business side and IT side, ensuring strategies and processes communicate constantly. Building these connections is evolutionary. Luftman's maturity assessment demonstrates that organizations must develop specific enablers, like cross-functional education and rigorous communication protocols, to mature their alignment. Sustaining alignment requires constant top management support, strict ownership of specific processes, and the active minimization of departmental friction between business units and IT staff. IT business alignment is never a completed checkbox on a management review. It is a permanent, dynamic state of corporate balancing. The theoretical frameworks of SISP and strategic alignment seem academic until an organization ignores them. In 2007, the British Broadcasting Corporation initiated the Digital Media Initiative, aiming to transition their entire production process to a tapeless, digital workflow. 6 years later, the BBC abandoned the project entirely. The complete systemic collapse resulted in a total loss of £98.4 million of public money. The project collapsed because the IT strategy completely detached from actual organizational processes and the daily realities of end users. The technology was built in a silo. The BBC ignored the basic principles of strategic information systems planning. They attempted to implement a rigid architecture and failed to adapt the technology to the rapidly changing strategic realities of digital media production. Furthermore, the project suffered a catastrophic failure in cooperation. There was a profound lack of communication, testing, and mutual understanding between top management and the IT architects designing the system. Professor Boateng's analysis highlights a crucial reality. Business and technology are highly volatile entities. Attempting to manage them with static, inflexible plans is incredibly dangerous. Organizations must cultivate dynamic capabilities, the agility to constantly perceive threats, evaluate opportunities, and steer the firm toward near-perfect alignment. It is the only way to prevent multi-million-dollar catastrophes and secure a competitive future. Because market conditions, consumer preferences, and technological capabilities change rapidly, perfect alignment between IT and business strategy is an elusive moving target. Henderson and Venkataraman designed the strategic alignment model to navigate this constant volatility. The framework relies on 4 distinct blocks: business strategy, IT strategy, organizational processes, and IT infrastructure. Strategic fit connects high-level strategies down to their respective physical and operational infrastructures. Functional integration establishes direct horizontal connections between the business side and the IT side, ensuring strategies and processes communicate constantly. Building these connections is evolutionary. Jerry Luftman's maturity assessment demonstrates that organizations must develop highly specific enablers, like cross-functional education and rigorous communication protocols, to mature their alignment. Sustaining this alignment requires constant top management support, strict ownership of specific processes, and the active minimization of departmental friction between business units and IT staff. IT business alignment is never a completed checkbox on a management review. It is a permanent, dynamic state of corporate balancing.
Thank you very much. Now you have listened to it, so we are about starting. So what did you hear now? What did you hear now? You have listened to it twice. Did you mind the one who was asking that I should show it again? So I'll start with you. What did you hear?
Okay, Prof. I heard that SIPs carry 3 core mandates, which is the resource, commitment, and then advantage. Where resource means that it must be able to forecast the exact future resource requirements. Then the complement has to do with the involvement of top management. Then in terms of advantage, it must be able to leverage its technology.
Okay. The way you have explained it, I can't even explain better. Charlie, you need for. Okay, so any other person? Any other? Yes, Conrad. Conrad. Yes. Conrad, you can go ahead. He's struggling to unmute himself.
Okay, so it's better now. So I also heard that with functional integration, the business strategy must align with the IT strategy, whereas the operational process also aligns with the IT infrastructure.
Okay.
And I think that was one thing the BBC failed to do and caused them a lot of loss.
Okay. That's a very good point. Any other person? Hmm. Any other person? Yes, Victor.
I also heard that the strategic fit also aligns the high level strategies of the organization to their um, operational strategies for each of them.
Okay.
And it goes along with the functional integration,
Okay.
which is horizontal.
Wow, that's good. You went very far. Okay, so our objective here is to try to understand IT strategy, how to plan for it, and how to align it. These are what we want to try and do in the session. Now, IT strategy doesn't come on its own. It comes on the fact that it sits on something. What it sits on is in a business model. Every business has a reason why they're in the marketplace. So the business model defines how an organization interacts with the environment to define the unique strategy, attracts resources, and build capabilities required to execute the strategy and create value for its customers or stakeholders. Now, when we take our IT strategy, our objective is to try to use it to support what the business model seeks to achieve. So your IT strategy or your IS strategy will support or serve the business model. It should respond to the business model. Now it cannot do that on its own. It also needs some capability to be able to get it done. So, for example, if you have a global platform and you're selling products across the world and you want IT to support you, we need IT managers who can think globally, who can actually understand with the pressures and the requirements of deploying services and resources at a global landscape. You also need the technological that can offer services on the global level. So the capability that is needed is very important. If you don't have the right capability, you can't even do a good alignment. Then the IT strategy should not just serve the model. The strategy that you have should lead to value creation. Whether it's IT or not IT, the strategy that you have as an organization should lead to value creation. When you add the IT, your IT then contributes to it. It contributes to the whole process and it helps to sustain it. Then one thing is that for every particular organization, you have to make a choice of where you want to be and how you want to be able to create a business value that's unique. We usually call that one that's your strategic orientation, where you range that you want to be. You are in the market for selling, let's say, beverages, but producing and selling beverages. But which of the target market are you focused on? Is it for beverages for non-alcoholic drinks for children, or non-alcoholic drinks for the average family, or you want to look into beverages for export, like how some organizations in Ghana do. They largely do export, maybe 70% export and 30% selling in Ghana. So you need to be able to let us know where you are going and how you're creating value. The IT is supposed to support or drive that selected opportunity. So that chosen bet that you have made with your strategic orientation will come in to come and support it. Then we also want to make sure that in trying to do so, we do so in a way that it's not just creating value, but it's also maximizing the use of our resources. So easing the pursuit for that particular strategy. Strategy is of no value without a pursuit. The IT strategy should make that pursuit easy, should make that pursuit easy. It is the IT that can help you to sell your products to maybe another company in, let's say, in Austria. Why? Because your IT strategy will lead you to develop a website that consumers in Austria can come to the page and then be able to make a choice. If you didn't have that, it was going to be very strenuous to be able to even reach consumers there and then to assess your product and then for them to be able to place an order. But in doing all of these things, there are a lot of choices that has to be made. And you saw the BBC events scenario. The choices, some of them will work, some of them will not work. So what we always say is that the IS or the IT strategy should be adaptable to what the changing needs of the organization is. Sometimes, even if you have got a very good object, a good, a fair zeal that I want to go in here, you are oriented to that particular market choice you have made, but you may not have the current resources internally to do it at that point in time. Too, you may need to take a look for resources elsewhere. So if you don't have an IT strategy that can adapt, or an IT team who can adapt to the changing conditions of the company, the changing opportunities, changing access of even to the market, you may not be able to gain any value. You need to make sure that your IT strategy or your IS strategy stays flexible, adapting to the market change, adapting to your internal resource changes, adapting to the consumer preferences that can be shifting. So staying flexible is very, very important. So, but what is important, most important, is what I said in number 4. Every firm is in a marketplace, but the firm makes a choice of what it wants to do. That choice comes from the fact that there are profitable opportunities in the marketplace, and the managers in the company can see those profitable opportunities and are willing to pursue it. So there's a difference between being in the marketplace and seeing, and even if seeing, pursuing. Some some companies can be in the marketplace, but they don't see. Others see better than others. So seeing means that you're assessing your business environment, you're able to strategically evaluate it and identify the profitable opportunities that are there and select the ones which you are willing to pursue. We call that one the strategic orientation or the productive opportunity of the firm. So when I bring technology in the company, for me to see how it becomes a strategic value to me, I'm not saying strategy, strategic value to me, whatever choice I make with IT or IS, for me to be able to experience it being of a strategic value to me, have to be able to know or understand what are the opportunities in my community and which of them am I willing to pursue. So let's just take somebody selling on the roadside, like selling watching or any of the jollof or any of the favorite dishes that we all eat, maybe even banku and tilapia. Now, this person can just sell banku and tilapia on prem. People come there, they give her cash to be able to do so. But she's saying that there is a change in the market where people don't bring cash all the time, but they would like to pay by POS or pay by Momo. So it is her role, her understanding that I have a phone. I can actually go and sign up with, with mobile money so that the firms that come, customers that come, they can pay by mobile and I can be able to sell to them. What is she then doing? In the past, if she didn't have it, she said that, oh, if you want to pay by Momo, there's a Momo seller just by my side there. Go to me and go and cash out. But that can create a very cumbersome situation because sometimes somebody parks his car and he's not even getting out of the car. He's trying to just buy straight from you. So it is your understand your strategic imperative for you to be able to see that this is a growing need in the marketplace. How can I adapt to be able to get advantage of it? Get my Momo, whether it's even my personal account or a merchant account. Make sure that when people come, that option. Some of them, when they even do that, then they put the phone number printed broadly on the body of their store or on the side there. So as soon as you tell my Momo, you say look up or look on the side or look in front. She doesn't have time to be able to read the numbers to you or so that she can serve another person. What is she trying to do? She's trying to make sure that she is extending her market reach and reaching clients who don't want to carry cash on them and moving towards a cashless economy. She's taking advantage of the opportunities in the environment. So, firms, but what has she done? She has been able to deploy the IT that she has seen correctly in a place that she perceives, or she has been able to use that capability to perceive correctly or to be able to sustain something that she has, opportunity that she has, and a productive opportunity that she has come to observe in the market space. So when you bring IT into the company, you have to make sure that the IT come to do something that will create value for you. Now, it may not be necessarily apparent to your customers, but
Yes, that's right.
maybe creating value for you internally. So most importantly, before we talk about strategy, IT strategy, we have to ask ourselves, does the organization even see? Today, are they able to even see, observe the opportunities in the marketplace? One company that does that well is very Amazon .com, where we buy most of our products from. Now, one thing about Amazon is that they generate large amounts of data, what we call big data. To be able to do that, Amazon is a master of using big data. He has a global network of 100 fulfillment, more than 100 fulfillment centers, the position of which are informed by analyzing and optimizing data. They just don't scatter their fulfillment system, centers where they end up processing some of your things and delivering it from. Good. Every day, Amazon monitors its network and decides where to open centers. It also analyzes consumer preferences and creates algorithms that stock popular items at different types of warehouse, making staff members more efficient. Why would you take shoes to maybe your center, your fulfillment center in Kumasi, when Kumasi only sells only 10% of shoes in your whole year's budget, or your if you analyze the data, but Kumasi is much more. They are buying more of maybe T-shirts and they are buying more of maybe let's say electronic gadgets. So why would you want to stock that whole fulfillment center with shoes? It will be more efficient for you to put the shoes in maybe Accra, let them stock so where they are buying maybe 80% of it. And when somebody orders the shoe from Kumasi, you still bring it from Accra to the place because the number is is almost negligible to the operations, other operations that are being fulfilled in Kumasi. That's the kind of thing it's doing. So Amazon is very is I think that core of its ability to do so is to have the infrastructure that it can be able to analyze this type of data or large volumes of data that is passing through uh, in a split second and use to make informed decisions, even sometimes for promotions on their page. So if you cannot bring technology and not strategically align to something that will generate value for you, otherwise your investment after some time, the business you need to tell you that they are not seeing any value in how much you made them put into this same technology that you were praising so much. Okay. Now, IT strategy matters for a number of reasons. One of them is the fact that it helps us set up the plans or even bring the plans into fruition. And number two, it helps us to be able to win in the market space. Now, what it tries to do is does so by giving us three types of benefits. So when we bring technologies into the business, there are three imperatives that we start seeing, or changes we start seeing in, or outcomes we start observing within the business. The first one is the operational benefits, why how IT can reduce your operational cost or your transactional cost and increase your time efficiency. You maximize the time that you are using to be able to do your business, and then you reduce your transaction cost. Transaction cost comes from a gentleman that in Williamson who proposed that there are two types of costs. There is the what we call the coordination cost and the actor motivation cost. The coordination cost is what you go through when you are trying to buy something and you are looking for the product. So you go here. Do you have a techno come on the slim come on which just came out? Do you have the techno come on slim? Do you have the techno come on slim? Come on slim, sorry. You go around asking people, and even if you find it, you say, how much is yours? Somebody says 4,500. You go to another place, how much is yours? Somebody says, we have a promotional price plus a cover plus this and plus we are selling it at 4,000. We also have another if you picking it up today, it's 3,500. If you are picking up next week, it's 4,000. If you are picking up next 3 weeks, it's 5,000, something like that. So you go through what you are going through is what we call coordination. You are going through different places to be able to ascertain prices, juggle them with your budget, and then make a choice. So when you have a technology platform where people can put their products in, that cost of going around, or you have a phone you can call, or you can text, or you can go to a platform like Gigi and be able to see, compare prices and offers from different type of stakeholders, you are reducing your coordination cost. Then we also have active motivation cost. Somebody finds a product and then he wants to be able to purchase it, and then the person who is selling it is also selling at a particular price. Now, what the other motivation cost is that says is sometimes because you don't know, you the consumer that don't know the different costs in terms of the different prices in town, and you have just come to me, that there's information asymmetry. I'm the only person who knows how much profit I put on, how much margin I put onto the product. Because you have just come to me, it will cost you more to go to all the other people to go to ascertain the product cost. So what then happens is, because you can't know and there's information asymmetry, you can either settle or become confused. So as an actor who is buying the product, you are not motivated, or you have some kind of limited information that constrains your behavior. Should I buy or should I buy? That contemplation you are going to affect your motivation, or it can increase your motivation in buying the product. However, if you have been able to have a platform that helps you to compare the prices, you are better informed now. So that information asymmetry is removed. So all then and you also know about the product. I read the video about it on YouTube and all this kind of. So you know even when the colors are available. So you go to the person says that all I have is black. You know that there's also a blue version. So at the end of the day, that information either can to increase the motivation of the actor to actually negotiate better and to actually stick to a particular price haggle, or a particular offer that he's getting, that I will buy or I will not buy. So it reduces actor motivation cost. The cost of motivating the actor to purchase the product is actually reduced. Well, in the past, what you then have to do to find a way of doing a lot of adverts and do so that actors can know that your product you are selling as a seller, you are got the best one, they should come to you. But now there's so many technologies making the platform plain, and their consumers are coming to the shop more informed. And so they're better informed than you, the one selling the product, and that it helps them to have a higher intention to purchase the products, and that's what we call the active motivation cost. So transaction cost is reduced if it's done well. Consumers have better marketplace information. They understand speed of access. They understand relevance. They understand. They even have improved communication with you, the buyer, the seller, and then they can build better relationship with you. What then happens is that you are also removing all intermediaries and you are transacting with them directly. The only thing that you may not be able to do for them is maybe deliver the product to them directly, or through the online platform, unless it's a digital product. So when a person says you can buy, then you say, I'll send my rider and come and deliver to you. What are we doing? We are improving the relationship. We are improving the information in the marketplace. And that helps us to internally increase the value that we are creating in the marketplace for the consumer. So we then have a better relationship between customers and then the person they are buying from. And enhance trading processes, inform decisions, removal of uncertainties, and then removal of asymmetries. Then we have the strategic. Because those things are happening, your market access can also increase. What happens? Because now you can sell to more people because you are now using digital platforms, you are using digital payment gateways. So now you have a larger amount of consumers that who can buy from you. So you are extending your market reach. You can also differentiate the products and then the service differentiation. So you can say that for some people, oh, they don't need you to even come there. You call and deliver to them. Why? Because you have got an intimate relationship. You can have continuous engagement with them through WhatsApp or through phone. And then you are able to say that, okay, you want this and this. I can package this nicely for you because you understand the person's preferences. Then it means that the consumers or who are buying from you, there's a higher potential that they can retain the service. You can retain them, they become more long-term partners, and then it can improve your revenue and even give you access to new revenue. So these there are three key dimensions of benefits that we get from IT. So strategic, operational, relational, and operational. Hmm. Now, one example is Nike ID. Nike ID is a platform that Nike developed some time ago with the objective of letting consumers design their own Nike shoes, and then they can be able to order them and get the shoes. The concept was that we could actually have one shop that has different shoes, but the permutation of shoe colors, lace colors. For example, on Nike ID, you can change the sole of the shoe into about 10 different colors. That gives you about 10 variants of the same shoe. Then you can even change sometimes the position and the color of the Nike tick that you see there, the nice symbol or logo, which is placed on it. You can also change the color of the inside of the shoe. You can change the lace color. You can even change the quality or the type of lace that you want. All these choices gives you different characteristics of making shoes. And because of that, if you have got 30 people trying to be on Nike ID, we'll have different permutations and you can generate different unique types of shoes. Now, the uniqueness also helps to have what we call personalization. Consumers can personalize the product, and because they personalize the product, they are more likely to purchase, even if it's a little bit higher than the not original one, which is just in the shopping floor. So when Nike deployed this, what Nike was doing is that it was trying to make sure that they change the marketplace information to be able to build a stronger relationship with consumers. And number three, they are also be able to increase their market and reach and value. By doing so, they also reduce transaction costs because if you like a particular shoe in color red, and all you are doing is call all the nine shops and to try to get it. When will you get red in size 8? When will you get green in size 7? You keep on asking. You go to different Nike shop in Colorado, Nike shop in New York, Nike shop in Hong Kong, Nike shop in Paris, all trying to look for a particular color. What Nike ID is saying that come and create the shoe that you want. You have seen the sample in the shopping floor or on in store. Come pick the shoe, put it there, whether it's tennis shoe or different shoes that they have for basketball, so that pick it and customize it the way you want. So that color that you are watching, going around looking for it, you don't need to do so. Or coordination cost eliminated. You are now more motivated. After motivation cost reduced. So what happens? You are now having a better marketplace information. Information asymmetry is removed. Uncertainty is removed. You are more likely to purchase the product. They are more likely to lock you in as a customer. So you see how technology is generating all these three benefits for Nike. Yes. But for Nike to be able to gain that, Nike has to have a system of planning to develop such strategic platforms. Good. So we call that the SIPs. The SIPs is a deliberate focus effort. Deliberate means that the organization have to have an action and intentionally make up their mind and commit to it that they want to do it. It's focused because it's a focus effort because it's just going to take technology to support the firm or align with the firm. So we have to know where it is going. We are not taking technology to do everything. We are using to align with the business model of the firm and how are we going to do it. To define and establish fundamental decisions and actions on how IT can drive or will drive and support what the organization is, what it does, and why it does it. What the organization is, what it does, and why it does it. Today, we have got technology that even defines the name of the organization. The organization exists because of that technology. So, technology, what the organization is, it means that it can become the driver of the firm. Without the technology, you don't even exist. What you are doing, it can come and support it, it can come and augment it, it can come and expand it. Look at how the social media, which came for our own network relationship, and it's changing the face of radio across radio and journalism across the world. For example, radio stations that were just on broadcasting through the old analog networks even the other form of digital networks now have a whole presence on social media that generates a different type of value. They even have engagement. Some of them have about 1 million followers, and when they post something that they are even discussing, or even they do live stream of their internal their news bulletins or discussions, sometimes they can get up to about 100,000 people watching it in real time, and then later accrue it to about 500,000 based on over time, based on those who come and watch it later because they think it's a recorded account on on their social media page. It's changing the way businesses are being run. So it's telling you that you, the person developing, you have to deliberate. You have to have a focused effort to define and establish the decisions and actions that will let that value be created. The decisions and actions. I remember there was a few years ago, many of the radio stations were just using the social media to just broadcast their information. So they just do a live streaming and nothing else. And I remember I was talking to one company and I told the company name with her that you can actually turn the thing to a whole advertising channel that you have to charge people differently for it. I remember this thing very well. I was having a meeting with them and I showed them that look, when you are on the website, you can on the social media page, instead of just putting your streaming there, you can also brand the page. So you can start selling branding rights that to show up on our social media page between these hours and these hours. We are selling it to you. So now you can see that sometimes you are watching a video and then something will come as a box here on the side or underneath, and it's an advert from a Ghanaian company. And the advert is designed just perfectly to push the video a little bit up to the corner, and then there, I guess, is within it. And it's like it's a seamless thing part of it because it was possible to do so. Some of them even put it as a video before whatever you want to watch and a video after what you are trying to watch. What are they trying to do? They're trying to maximize and extend their market reach for the customers who have been coming to them to sell products or for them to advertise their products for them or services for them. So they are actually extending their reach. And now the technologies embedded within social media has even made it much more simpler to do so. Those times that were about almost 7 years ago, it was not very flexible to even do so. So there were different methods that I was advising them on how to get it done. So we start seeing that a good sales process focuses on 4 areas. Business IS alignment, that's important. But for that one to achieve, we need to have the appropriate IS policy and strategy so that we can be able to know how to align it because the IS policy and strategy is speaking to the business. So, and in our strategic, in our SIPs, we can use the SIPs process to even make sure we develop our policies and even review our policies and make sure that they are consistent with the changing needs of the firm. Then you also have leveraging IT for competitive advantage. We want to sustain the advantage we have in the marketplace. How do you even achieve? How do you sustain it? The IS policy and strategy can be able to help you do that. Then, if efficient, effective, responsible IS resource management, meaning that we need some way of managing information appropriately, and then be able to gain much value from them. So where do we buy from? How do we buy? How do money? What are the responsibility and roles? All of them will be defined through can be defined through the SIPS process. Then the IIT architecture and then infrastructure. What are we investing in? And what are we not investing in? What type of technologies are we buying? What other technologies are we not buying and why? All of these things can be answered within the sales process. So the sales process is deliberate, is focused and fundamental. Fundamental being the fact that it forms the basis for which we grow the firm its IT in its IT climate. What I mean by that is that as you do the sales, you are now developing, ensuring that your policy are in alignment. You are developing a strategy. You are allocating resources. You have a budget. By the time you finish, you actually been able to build the whole function for IT deployment in the organization and IT management, IT resource, efficient use of the IT resource. All of them are defined within that. So when you do that, it becomes the baseline or the supporting system that like the foundation for IT use and IT maximization and value maximization within the company. Good. Now, what it will help you achieve is that you are aligning your IST with your business needs. You are gaining advantage. You're also gaining top management commitment because it has to be done from the top. You can't do it just, or you have to be done with top management involvement because you cannot get up and just go and ask for resources if the firm doesn't understand where you are going to use the resources. SIPS is not a silo project sitting in somebody's office. SIPS is something that should be organization wide that can draw the senior management to be able to make commitment to the use of IT in the different dimensions or different functional areas of the organization. So we need to make sure we communicate it to the top management. And then the process also allows you to forecast your requirements. What do you need to be able to create this value in the marketplace? You say you want to become the first firm in maybe networking. What do you need to be able to do so? What resources do you need? How many employees do you need in networking, the networking department? What levels of capacity and expertise are you looking for? What technology will they use? Are they going to be allowed to use their own equipment when they go to the field? Or you buy equipment for them, so just pick equipment back and go. How do you go to manage the equipment back that people will go and then not take items from your IT items from your equipment back and later tell you they don't have a spanner, you don't have this, you don't have that. Meanwhile, you bought it as a package. So what system are you using to be able to do so? Any of you who have watched some of the US-based or the even North American or even Asia-based sitcoms on the police station, do you realize that the police car, when you are going to use it, you don't just get up and go and sit in it. You go and you sign for a car. Even though the cars are even allocated to you, sometimes you go then they take the key and give it to you. So and sometimes even some of them, there are more things you have to even do. There's that type of machinery in terms of even ammunition. It's not the one that is by your pocket in your holster. You have to actually go and sign for it. What are they doing? They are making sure there's appropriate and efficient use of resources. And accountability exists. Now, if you develop an assist plan without IT accountability, then you have a problem. You have a problem. So the right and a policy that can help us manage and use and leverage IT in the firm, all of them have to develop. And if you follow a good sales plan, by the time you finish, you have actually done all of these things. If you have any question, you can raise your hand. Now, to be able to do this, we come to the different types of ways that have been proposed in the literature. The first one is literal and statistics for methodologies of doing SEPs. The first part, one comes from okay. The first one is what we call the business planning, which was developed by IBM. Involves a top-down planning with bottom-up implementation. So what then happens upon the top, we will recognize the mission, the objectives, and the functions of the organization, and then determine our business processes and analyze the processes for the data needs. Because we are now able to get the data needs, then we can be able to propose which actual technologies will help serve those data needs. From the bottom, we identify the current data that our data currently required to perform the processes. Now, when we bring what is coming from the bottom, from the team who are at the maybe at the bottom of management, and then the team which are above at the top part of management, when we put the two resource assessment they have done or data needs assessment they have done, we can then sit down and output an overall architecture of database and application that with an installation schedule that will help solve the needs that they are defined. So it's heavy heavy emphasis is on top management. Heavy emphasis on top management. The final business systems planning plan describes an overall information system architecture comprised of database and application, as well as the installation of the scheduled the installation schedule for the individual systems. So that's how the business planning works. And some organizations that are well structured like to use this concept. So that there's kind of such sound methodology of following of getting things done. There's no ambiguity of what is needed to be done. Then there's the Pro Planner. Pro Planner was developed by Holland Systems in Michigan. Health planners analyze major functional areas within organization. So we start by analyzing the major functional areas in organization. There's marketing, there's finance, there's production. So you look at all of they'll look at all of them, and out of that they define a business function model. So how would that function work, and what kind of things do they need? What architecture in terms of IT, from the data sense and from the technology perspective, is needed to be able to make that business function model come into life. So when you say that they derive a data architecture from the business function model by combining the information requirement of the organization into a generic data entities and broad databases, then they identify, after they've done the data architecture, then they build the information system architecture defining specific new applications and then an implementation schedule of getting it done. So let's take an example. Somebody is selling watching, you are trying to help the person do. So what's the data architecture do you have for helping the person's let's say the payment part? So you can just say that what you can first take the needs. What type of different stakeholders come to this watching place? The bankers come, the students come, the people who are even market women, or so many other people, diverse caliber of people. What are usually the payment ways that they use? Oh, most of them, some of them carry card, they want to pay. Some of them ask, do you have Momo? Some of them carry cash. Some of them also sometimes pay, split them amount. They have maybe 10 cities in cash and they have to split the rest of the 30 cities on Momo. So you have got those who are using dual payment approaches and all of these things. Now, because of that, we don't define what do we need to be able to support them. Okay, we need to be able to, for some organization, they can even start as basic as, let us even do what's the name? A client list. Let us know who and who come here and what criteria that their needs. That's one way. So that we can even know which is the dominant need that they have. That's one. Number two, they also can then say that, okay, the payment gateway, we have these three types of payment that are requested. Which of them is the dominant? So they can do some study to be able to count and know which of them is the dominant request. Then they can then ask what information in architecture do I have to put on? We need a mobile number and a mobile gateway for this. And if you are doing Momo, it may be easy. We also need a POS. POS, we need a bank account. We need a bank. That's a little bit more complex, but it has its own benefits. So then we can decide the schedule. We will start with engagement with the people to let them know that we are bringing new Momo new options for payment. We'll do an advert for it, or we'll do a poster for it that we can post on the board on the side, on the left hand side, or right hand side of our what's the name of our store, wherever we have got our market our table where we sell from. Then we go on to say that okay, we go to MTN or Telecel and register for Momo account, and then after that we will say that for now, because I don't have much money coming, I will start with an individual account. As I gain much more value and I see the transactions are more frequent, I'll move to a business account. So these are all decisions that you are doing, but you are layering them on one after the other, and you then go out and then roll it out. I'm just using it as the simplest, but it can be more complex than this, depending on the type of firm that you are working with. Then there's also the information engineering. Information engineering is more like a toolkit approach. So we look at the different techniques for developing enterprise models, data models, process models. Those of you who did information system development, either last semester, you might have come across some of these type of models: a data flow diagram, a business process model or process model for data, And then you can do a data flow diagram, can draw it, a process flow diagram, can also draw it. Now, all of these means that we'll go to a session, sit down, and be looking at our processes and organization, start drawing the data models that will work with that one, the process model that will work with that, and then decide and come to a consensus with it. Sometimes some of the organizations even let software guide them in doing so. That's why I call them in an engineering approach. They tend to use toolkits and then to use certain templates to be able to model out the firm and what the firm needs and what they do with the firm. Good. So we come without one comes to information engineering. Then I've got the method approach. The method approach consists of 10 phases or 10 segments. Now, the first five help you to formulate the information strategy, and the final five help to extend it. So the first five help to formulate information, and the final five help to extend it. Now, a break between the first and the final five provides a top management checkpoint or an opportunity to adjust and revise. So at the top part, we then have what we call the methodology itself. These are the top layer. Then the middle layer is the techniques that support the methodology, and the bottom layer are the tools that support the techniques. Examples of many of these techniques are focus groups, Delphi studies, matrix analysis, data flow diagramming, picking from the information there, and functional decomposition. Method embraces focuses heavily on assessment of the business environment or organization and its objectives and its competitive environment. It also stresses the tactics required for changing the organization when it implements the plan. Okay. So if I was using the method plan, what I now will do is that I'm going to start by picking up what's the best method for understanding the organization from day one. So can I do some focus group discussion with the senior management to understand where the organization is and who they are. Then I can then go to, okay, now that I understand, I've defined my methodology or approach. I can then look at other techniques that can help me get those things done. So I can bring different data collection techniques to be able to get a good picture a rich picture of the organization, and then use that one to be able to develop my base understanding of the organization, and then deploy or prescribe certain things to address it. I remember in the UK there was a lady that was going for a job interview, and we are taught them what we call the rich picture. The rich picture is a way of deploying, drawing out the current inconsistencies and confusion in an IT system or an IT environment. And then you also draw another one that you show that's the current picture. And then the other picture is when we are brought the IT and you solve the problem, how would we look like? So he went to a public sector interview, and they were asked that they were put into, after getting to a stage of the interview, they were put into a room and they were given a problem to solve. The problem was that they presented on paper all the current issues that this particular government agency was facing, and they came to tell her she come and propose how to address it. She was the only one who went with the rich picture approach. So she drew out the thing, showing where the issues are. There's a manager here who doesn't talk to this person. There's this person here who doesn't do this. The person who doesn't do that. Because they're written certain things in the documentation. So he used to write it as a picture. Then he writes that he put in that if we put a server here and put this thing here, all this information, this thing will cut, asymmetries will leave, then we iterate around the way we work and drew the ideal picture he wants to achieve. That's what she presented and she got the job. So you are in here, you are seeing a method-driven approach. The person has actually taken one of the techniques and used it to be able to do a model out the organization, and then put it at the before and after. That if you put in here, this is where we go to. Now, that's why it says that it also stresses the statics required for changing organization when they implement the plan. So in the rich picture, you can even see how it will look like. Now, information will flow from here to here. Information coming from admission will come on time. It will come from here. Because this, by the rich picture, will in the first current state, he would have, after drawing, she shows the arrows that are broken lines of communication, the broken lines of communication. The last semester, I talked about rich picture, especially with this. Maybe we couldn't do it, Mama, but especially with let me show you, especially with what's the name, the students who are in the uh, regular students. I taught them how to even draw it. Because sometimes it's very difficult to just explain it. The rich picture diagram example. Okay, let me just show. So this is one. Look at one thing. Making sense of messy situations. So look at this one like this. This is understanding, trying to understand what is happening currently. Good. Please, can you see the picture? This is a messy situation. So we use a rich picture to be able to make sense of the messy situation. Then after that, you draw when you finish, after you finish the solving the problem, how it will look like. So the before and after, and the person got a job. A very method-driven approach of being able to tell the company where to go to, where you are now, where to go to. Please do understand. But before you can do this, if the shares was just an examination, like something that she used to be able to get a job in a public sector institution. But in the real world, you would have to do a lot of interviews and discussions to be able to get a picture. This guy doesn't talk to this person. This person is doing this. This person had. And you also don't capture just information from. You capture sentiment, so you can draw people. You see the down here, agency, trust, and cost. He's putting question mark that the person here, the agent here, has issues about trusting whoever he's talking about and the cost of it. Yeah. And then let me see that. Look at this one. The hotel coming down here. He's talking about choices, budget, and allergies. So he capture some of the sentiments, the informal words people have said. As we interview them, we capture all of them into the rich picture. So that the organization can see this is where we are. And this is how can we then move to another place. Okay. Please, are we understanding?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Redeemer, are you with me? I'm asking a question, you're not responding. So let's continue. So the next one that we have is the one coming from L. L's approach is a little bit different. Okay, this guy didn't talk about L. Let me talk about L's approach from the book. L's approach has the okay, it's here. I'll come back to this one. This is just a summary of what you wanted with this but I'll come back to you. Also, approach is about the bottom up. First one is the business-led approach, and it's just like the business systems plan a little bit. But it says that how it works. Business plans are analyzed to identify how and where IS, how and where IS and IT can most effectively help them. So the business planning drives the SIPS project. So we have to understand the business plan, and then we use the business plan to be able to inform us on where we need IT to come and do a good and be a good support. The IS is treated as a strategic resource in that the IS functions gains legitimacy because now the top management is saying that we have got this we want to try and do. How can IT help us? So they are asking you to be able to tell them how IT can help as a consultant for the organization. Work involves studying different business documents and interview managers to propose the IS implications. The risks. Business strategies can be often vague on detail. So yes, because sometimes they just have an idea of we want to sell to Kumasi. That's all. And if they just tell you that they want to sell to Kumasi, that is what may be there. But the actual way of going to sell to Kumasi is now you have to sit down with a team to come up with it. So the IS manager struggle to specify needs. They struggle to do so. I don't know anybody who has done consultancy for an informal firm before, a firm which is maybe not very formal in their processes, and it's maybe driven by one CEO who doesn't understand, just has money, and you are put into the business, and the business is generating some value for him. You go there and say that, yeah, my friends are on the internet. I also want to be on the internet. He doesn't even know what it means beyond it. He's just telling you that. So you have to figure out how you are going to even help the person as an IS manager. Okay, so top management delegates the detail, weekly delegate the detail to you. Weekly ownership, so they don't own it that much. You said, "Oh, I just want to go here." Then you have to go and figure out how you can get them there. So line and usually the users and line managers are underrepresented. The result is that it's maybe well aligned because you, the IT manager, will do a good job and do the alignment. Nobody will disturb you, but nobody owns it. Very few people own it because they didn't sit down with you to do the detail part of it and they didn't define it. Now, the reason why I'm saying that this is important is that if you are doing a business led and you have something in your mind, if you just leave it for an IS manager, he may not be committed to your organization as a consultant. He just wants to deliver and then get paid. So you also look at certain best practices and just come and give you the information. If you are not very knowledgeable, you just say yes, let's continue. But whether it will fit, be a best fit for your organization in terms of resource allocation and understand. Let me just give a very simple example. You are a firm that has been is very traditional. You started and you hired about 10 people, and the 10 people have been very loyal to you. And then you have become a very big firm, and the 10 people are still there. Then you say that now you want to be able to expand and sell more online. These 10 people were not online people, but they are the one who did the good management which and help you get penetration across the whole Ghana. Because you want to go online, you go and bring all these new people to the organization and they are talking about online, undermining the people who actually helped you to start. So they understand the business, you put them aside and say, I'm going with this company, can help us go online. Took plenty. They will do the logical way of going online. They will charge you for it. But at the end of the day, they may not own it and to run with it. Those who own to run with it are the 10 other people you have just forgotten and put them aside, thinking that they are not IT inclined or they are not much, they may not, they want the traditional one just as is. If you're not very careful, the money that you are making from the traditional way of doing things to come and be able to say that you're moving now online, you lose all of it. And that you will not be able to even continue with both processes. Your traditional can do the new way of delivering value, can also do that. You lose your business. So it's a good approach, but you need to ensure stakeholder involvement. Consultants that you bring in and they understand some of this, they may not have their best interest at heart. Secure stakeholder buying from the bottom up and top management understanding. Top managers need to understand what it is to be able to bring technology into the firm, what the technology will do. And then stakeholders should be willing to use that technology. I remember one hospital in Ghana, I think I mentioned this some time ago, we were doing some work with them. Interesting, very, very interesting perspective. When they were sent to the records department, we tended to deploy the software for them to use it. We leave the place, the software is not working. We come, the software is working. We leave the place, then we start asking what is happening. The software, whenever we are on premise, is working. Whenever we leave, then it's not working. Only to find out that the people who are in the records unit, when somebody come and ask that I want my card, the good person will go to the room, do all the search and come. And when he brings you, say, oh, thank you, sir. Then some 10 CDs you go or something like that. But what's happening is that now you have come to eliminate all these things and you're using software. So when you are there, they will tell you the system is working. When you leave, then they unplug the data cable from the data socket. So there's no internet and the network will fail. And they will say it's the system that is not working. But they will not tell you there's a network that they have disconnected from. This is human behavior. They don't own the new technology that they bring it. They are brought. They're not part of it. You didn't look at their sentiments of how much effort they have done. Those records you came to computerize, who captured them? Who have been maintaining them? Them. So you, the IT manager, have to have either a kind of a phased approach or a balanced approach of making sure that we will still use the file system, but we still do online. So when a person comes, you still let him go and look for the file. Then we'll add it online. Just in case as I'm engaging with lights goes off, I can continue writing your file. Or after that, I can print it and put whatever I engage with into your file. It's very important, and that gives a different way of looking at the thing. And in terms of project management, you are able to manage the change much more better. Then you go to the method-driven approach from L's discussion. Sorry. Oh, uh-uh. The method-driven approach is also often a consultant's methodology. They also use techniques, as you saw in the engineering and information engineering approach. Identify IS needs by analyzing business processes and objectives. And it's usually starts with the IS manager who believes the right method will convince the top management. So he believes there's a right method and he wants to use the most right method in his mind to get it done. The risk is that you may be trying to look for what is the right method and it may not come. You may not find the right method because in his mind, if I use this particular method, I'll gain some information. Then as he's working on it, another epiphany can come and say, this other method can work better. So you start fighting methods than rather focusing on what work he's supposed to do. He's looking for much more efficiency in delivering the understanding of what he wants to do. So if you use, let's say he sits down and then he uses let's say you give the people documents to write out what you think about the organization, where your office is, and what are your functional needs. So you are doing requirement analysis. As he's doing a requirement analysis using elicitation, means that he's actually asking them and they are answering questions and they are filling forms for it to be able to draw the current the state of the current picture. The objective is that maybe you want to develop do a rich picture. But as he's doing it, then you can come up with another mind that, oh, apart from that, they should go ahead and then do information flow diagrams for me. But these people don't understand information flow diagrams. So you bring your one of your consultative buddies, he sits down with them and they start working on such a thing. Excellent idea. But what you are trying to do is that you are trying to be using different types of methods to be able to get the information. It's not wrong. Pluralistic methods may help us get a better picture. But what will happen is that you get stuck in methods. So always you're thinking that what other method can I use? Whatever method can I use? Whatever method can I use? And if you're not very careful, you don't know when to stop. So consultant may lack business understanding and apply a perfect method, especially if you're not very experienced, to know that this is a public sector. If I use this method, it will not work. Good. A public sector, you go them and tell them that you have created an online form. They should go and write their sentiments about their office. They are dead. No, you have a very few people to fill. They want to come to a meeting, get a per diem for it. Sorry, they want to come to a, yes, I've even seen that one. So you have to do a meeting. I recently went to one. So they tell, oh, but government has sent us to come and sit down and engage with you about your needs and this new health exchange platform we are developing. Okay, so is it possible that we can have one meeting in our office on Friday and then all my team members will be there? Then we can then plan another meeting in maybe Akosombo or something where we can have much more time and sit down. Every unit can do their presentations. This is what they have told you. If you don't do this one, remember that you're going to struggle. Because at the end of the day, the objective is getting something. The office one, you don't pay them. But as soon as they leave and they go outside the office, it's either you are paying for them going and they are going to have their time to relax and stuff, or they some of them have a facility in. If it's an office activity you are taking out, they know how to go and collect the per diem. So it is not about the system you are helping them build, though. They are interested, but the means of getting it done has to get something has to go through some things. Some local fuel has to go through. So you need to appreciate it. If you go with this method is that you don't understand the sentiments and the culture and the environment, you fail. The method will not give you anything. So methods are not a panacea for your fully formulated business plans and then IS plans. It is most important that you know the type of firm that you have and identify what will work. So you have to be more pragmatic about it. Pragmatic, what will work, not what method is the best, what will work. Ensure stakeholder buy-in and top management understand and explain the method well to key stakeholders. And also get their interest in your method, whichever method you are using. So, for example, if the online one that you really want them to, because there are different offices across Accra or in Ghana, you want them to all put their sentiments in a. You can just say that the team or the region that finish filling the forms first, 500 CDs for you, something like that. But the problem about that one is that they can tell you lies and just make the thing look good, and it can be flawed too. So I'm not saying it's the best one. I'm just saying that sometimes that incentives can come in, or it will you can work with the HR manager. It will count towards their appraisal. That one is much more better because it means that when they are going for their promotion, they will check how much did you contribute to the IS project that we're working on. How much when they give the forms, how much did you feel, or how responsive were you, and that can count for you. So that one you may think about that. Okay. Then I go to administrative. Administrative is the bottom up. An IT capital and expense budget satisfied approved projects, essentially a wish list approach centered on resource planning and allocation. This is typically public sector. Every unit has to be able to develop its own budget and then bring it to a meeting for defense. And you present your budget and then they allocate for you. So you and your team can sit down. Your IT team. You go and talk to marketing. What do you need? Marketing will say that they need one laptop plus a camera and plus this. They write it down. Marketing, what budget has been allocated to you? Oh, marketing last year we had a budget of $3,000. We're even able to use only 2,700. We have some 300 left. This year because we want to buy the latest camera, which is about $2,000 and things. We are now asking that our budget for this year is $5,000. So the normal 3,000, you are even asking for 5,000 or 2,000 more. And already you have some 300 balance from the last round of budgets. Okay. So marketing actually needs 2,000 and 4,800 because they have got 4,700, you have got 300 already. That's good. Then you go to another department, let's say procurement. Procurement, you mentioned that we want to go for training in the new procurement software which has been deployed by the PPP. And the training program is done in KNUST, and we have to allocate for people staying there for 1 week and all those kind of. So our budget last year was 3,002, and we don't have any balance. So we are asking to buy 3,000. If all we will use about 1,500 for them for training. But if we do that and we do go for the training, we cannot be able to buy even basic IT things like supplies for toner and stuff for our unit. This is where you have a decentralized budget. So listen. So you also say that okay, in that case, because of that, we want 4,500. Our normal 3,000 that we get, and an extra 1,500 to do the training. Then we go to the board meeting and we are looking at budgets, and then they come. Okay, looking at the fact that there was a recent flood and our factory in Tema was affected. We have to at the beginning of the year, next year, we really have to go slow. So we are slashing the budget. All the 3,000 we to give you now will give you 1,700 cedis, $1,700. So your 4,000 that your 3,000 you get, you are not even getting. Then the extra 1,500 you added, it's not even a negotiation. You're not even getting that. They just give you 1,700. Managing it for the first 6 months. At the first 6 months, we'll sit down. At that time, we have stabilized. That factory will come back live, and then we can then know what to do. Your training program cannot be done in the first 6 months of the year. That's what he's telling you. So in the administrative one, you would have actually put all these things together. Come and submit your proposal to a committee alongside your financial planning and capital budgeting. And so the SIPS is now part of the policy and procedures of the organization. It's not seen as something separate. It's very formalized, which is very good. That is in fact, that's where we want to be. But the question is that you are now competing with like everybody. It's not like they see you the SIPS as the most important thing for everybody that we should shut down and then everybody should lose some money because of you. So you, the IT manager, wait, the marketing needs this amount, this one needs this, so that you can help. They tell you it's not possible. For all the 5 departments, you are giving them 1,700 each. Go and see how you can manage it with them. That's all. And that's why your negotiation skills are needed a lot. So you may have to go and negotiate with procurement. Procurement, you want to go for training. The other group also wants to do some get some latest software and stuff. So what we'll do is that the training, KNUST does it throughout the whole year. So let's hold on your training and let's support the other people. As soon as they give them their second tranche of the money, they will release it to add to your own, and they will let you go. What if KNUST changes the program, and by the end of the year, and by the middle of the year, they say they are not running that program anymore? So now you have to go for them. The program that we're advertising for everybody to go was cheaper. Now, if you want them to be spoke to come to your office, come and deliver, it's cost more cost. It will cost you more. So you, being the IT manager, you have to be like a prophet, trying to prophesy what is needed. At the same time, you have to also be a good negotiator to balance emotions and balance budgets. It's not an easy thing to do. Business you need the capacity to identify the certain IS resources and make a business case. Then the steering committee will weigh in alongside the budgets that are available, and then you have to then approval is given. So your negotiation skills have to be very, very good. Please, are we getting somewhere? Are we enjoying it? Are we understanding?
Yes, Prof.
Okay. Then we go to the technology-driven approach. Technology-driven works like this. IT architectures are developed as the foundation for expected application needs. A formal method maps the activities, process, and data flows, and the outputs are blueprints. So this is more engineering and method. It's more like the method we read earlier under Letty etc. Lendra and SETI, their information engineering approach. So we go with using tools and maps to be able to develop our IT architecture. One of the tools that we use the computer aided design approaches. So we develop some of this using software, computer-based software that will help us be able to model the type of systems that we are trying to develop, and then be able to see what benefits we gain from that system. Now, it's best for high-level IT infrastructure where blueprints must be followed closely. but demanding the resources, time, and effort, because you need a team to sit down to do all these kind of blueprints on the architecture of the firm, architecture, the IT architecture, the data architecture, and all that other forms of architectures that you need to be able to run the company. For good for high level IT infrastructure, provided resources and time and effort are genuinely available. Most beneficial when the deliverables are well defined and decentralized, factored down into smaller applications. Then you also have the organizational approach. Organizational approach means that we want to learn as an organization in going through this sales process. By going through it, we want to also learn from each other or each unit so that it becomes a strength that we have and we can do it well. So SIPS is a continuous integration of the highest function, organizational or structured the organization. Sorry, it is unstructured, not neat and tidy, embracing whatever method fits the purpose. The work starts from the themes or business objectives and is broken into deliverables. Teams investigate how to achieve each of them. Then an IT executive on the team with an IT executive on the team to show why and where and how IT can help. So we'll put them into teams and they work together on the different issues. And then somebody is kind of chaperoning them and telling them how IT can come and solve the problem. Good. Then the strategies often emerge from the ongoing activity. Try and error changes to practice, incremental enhancement of applications. And then what happens in this scenario is that when you are working with the organizational approach, you don't have an idea that everything will work. So your team will sit down, and then when they sit down, they look at, okay, we want to try and improve our sales in this particular region. How can IT help us? So the sales managers will have meetings with the IT team. They look at what kind of technologies we needed. What is the core problem in the market? Is it about we increasing social media advertising or doing some digital adverts on Google Ads or going to do adverts in the radio station, get the people locally. So they'll brainstorm on these kind of things, and then what that happens is that they will be able to identify where they use IT to be able to get the thing these options done and which of them will best suit the firm. Good. Now, what is interesting about this is that by bringing people together, sitting down with them, engaging with them, you as an organization are learning, and the members are also learning. They are gaining knowledge from different units across the organization. It's appropriate for firms that have an established IT or IS strategy that needs a new plan for an emerging theme or business need. Building on the existing plans, strategies, and infrastructure. We're not going too far from them. We are building up on them. Okay. So that's what the organizational approach will be. If your focus is about learning, if your focus is about building consensus and letting people understand, all of this will come from the organizational approach. Now, what is interesting across all these approaches is this statement. One, in SIPs, internal and external business understanding is needed. So you have to do requirement analysis before anything else. We need to be able to understand the business, where it is going internally and what is going externally. So it's needed. Number two, software support and consensus building through the stakeholder consultation and interaction. You can engage with stakeholders. You want to build consensus. You also can use technological technology elements, or some type of software to be able to capture that information that you have gained from them and use to analyze the information. So don't separate the use of technology in doing the data collection. It can be very helpful. Sometimes people even simply capture their views in a rich picture more than even using something another type of tool. They can give you a snapshot of what they feel, what they are experiencing with that particular service, and they can be well captured through the technology, through the techniques that you are using, the software techniques you are using, or the software you're actually using to do so. We have to also understand that SIPS also brings organizational changes. So we need some dynamism and flexibility within the implementation, because you are telling people to change the way they do things. You're telling people that they should also allocate resources for different stuff. It means that you are negotiating with people's resources, you are negotiating with people's powers and liabilities. You're also negotiating with people's interests. So the flexibility and dynamism is needed. And there should be a congruence between the planning inputs, that the requirements, and the outputs. You should see that they are what we said we wanted this. Are we actually getting that one? So somebody calls that the design, the oh, the design and reality gaps assessment. So you look at either what you designed for and what has been implemented, and see whether there are gaps between that. If the gaps are wider, that means that the thing has failed. If the gaps are very are narrower, that means that you have an increased opportunity or intention to succeed in the deployment of or in the deployment and use of this particular technology. So design design reality gap analysis is very, very important. Design reality gap analysis is very important. And then we should also look at the financial resources for what you want to do. Are we ready financially equipped to do so? In terms of the software that you need to buy, the consultants who understand the methods, and then the top management. Remember what I told you. Your own employees can tell you that because you want to do this job and do it very well, say, can you let us go to this particular hotel or go for this retreat and come back? What are they trying to do? They're trying to say they want to get out for some time. So, okay, good. Good. Let's continue then. Okay. Please, any questions? So the five approaches side by side, business led from L, method driven, administrative, technological organization. If the emphasis is on just the business, we go for business led. If the emphasis is on the technique, we go for method driven. If it's on the resources and how we allocate a resource efficiently, then it becomes administrative. If it's more about the model that the business has and architecture to support that model, it's more technological. If it's about letting organization learn, then it's more you want the organization to learn. Somebody will say learn what? Learn from themselves as they implement and deploy strategic information systems within the organization. Be able to learn from different departments how to improve their business processes, how to align their IT more efficiently. So they are learning from themselves and they are learning internally. You want to use organizational. Now, for all of them, there are different things that you are looking out for. For example, business led is about business plans. Method driven, we are looking for the best method, which I will say that can be elusive. Then the administrative, you are looking at procedure. What is required to be done, and what does the procedure say in the public sector or in that institution that you are in? How do we follow through of it? In the technological dimension, looking for rigor, the rigor. So the rigor in developing the top-notch, develop a top-notch model to be able to run the or architecture for the firm. It will come straight from technological. Then if you want partnership, the partners should come together and work together. We are looking out for organizational. So all of them has a way that we go about it. The influencer, the influencer for each of them also tends to differ. With a business led, the person who is driving it, the influencer is the IS planner, which can be from the IT unit, and he's the driver of the whole activity. But in the method of we are using consultants. Consultants look at the business plan can also be consultant in the first one, the business led. But in the administrative approach, it's more about committees. Remember, I mentioned a committee will then decide on how much should be allocated to you. Okay. Then the technological approach, method is the one that is simply one. The method you are selecting, the method for developing the architecture, all of this is the one that plays a key role. Then the organization is the teams, partnership. So it's about teams. Okay, good. Now let's look at these examples here. A national railway must replace its entire signaling and control architecture over 10 years to straight blueprints. Which of them will you use? To straight blueprints. Which of them will you use? To straight blueprints. Which of them will you use? Yes, class. You guys are here, so let's engage. Hmm? Hello? Hey, you need where are your mates? Don't
Prof,
answer
please.
this. Don't answer it. I want to. If I call you, you don't respond. It means I are not here. and I've got every right to penalize you. Panford, mm, you want to design with straight blueprint. Which of the approaches will you use? Straight blueprints. Panford. Okay, so please take note. He's not here. Brian Overlay. Brian. Brian.
Sir, good morning.
Everyone.
With a strict blueprint,
That's the output.
pardon? Sorry.
That's the output you're looking for. The technology. Let me read that thing to you again. You are
Okay,
not
sure.
paying. A national railway must replace its entire signaling and control architecture over 10 years to strict blueprints. Which of the approaches will you use?
Um, I think the technological.
Good. The technological. This was very straightforward.
Yeah.
Anyway, Victor, answer this one. A new CEO publishes a 5-year corporate strategy and asks where IT can best enable it. Sorry. A new CEO publishes a 5-year corporate plan and asking where can IT enable it? How can IT enable my plan? Which one will you use?
Prof, I think it's the business-led approach.
Good. It's a business led. Good.
Yes.
Dina, answer the next one. A ministry allocates IT through annual budget. Submissions reviewed by a project committee. Which of them will you use as a consultant? A ministry submits their IT resource plans and it has to be approved through committees. Which of them will you use?
Administrative.
Administrative, right? Administrative. I hope you don't have a code.
No, please, I have a question, but I would wait after you give us the opportunity.
Yes, ma'am. A retailer with a mature IT estate wants a plan for a one new team, same day delivery. They are focused on that. They want one new thing, same daily delivery. So what are we going to use? One new thing, same day delivery. So you want to bring different departments together to help us achieve that same day delivery in your logistics. Same day delivery. Yes. Nobody can answer this one. Sandra,
Prof, organizational
good
approach.
organization. Because same day delivery is your objective. You can't do it alone in one department. You need to bring different people together. So you sit as a team and then you look at the strengths of marketing, strengths of logistics, strengths of procurement. How can we build a system that is seamless, that the consumer doesn't even know? And we are able to deliver the product same day for the person. So the objective is defined as a theme, and then they rally themselves around it to achieve it. So please, this is if you forget anything, this is what you need. This slide is what you need, especially for else approaches. This slide is what you need to be able to know how to juggle the objectives of your SIPs. So you capture this one, and I'll make it available to you guys. Okay. But how do we deploy it? We deploy them through a number of steps. So we'll just quickly go through the steps, and then next week we'll continue to look at the steps that are in them. Strategic awareness is one. Planning plan the planning. Key issues that you are going to discuss: planning objective, teams, top management, and their commitment. Okay, so who is going to get that one done? You need to get people aware within the organization that this is going to start. And then you need to make sure that top management have a buy-in and are committed to it. And then you have to ask yourself, what is the objective of this process? How to define it. The best tool to use for that one we call the business systems planning. It will be one that you can use coming from level and set tree. Situation analysis. We should analyze where we are. We need something like the SWOT analysis, Porter's 5 model, Porter's 5 forces, the PEST model, the value chain. All of them help us to do internal and external business environment analysis, which I've learned in management. Then we do strategy conception, identify the major IT objectives and opportunities for improvement, evaluate them, and sketch high level strategies. In this scenario, because you are developing, you identify the major objectives and opportunities for improvement, evaluating them, and then coming out with high level IT strategies, we can then draw on the pro planner, the method, or the BSP, that's the business system planning team. Any of them can help us to be able to do, or a combination of them. Strategy formulation, we have to formulate a strategy. The method approaches can help, the BSP can help, and even the information engineering, if you want to follow a particular model to be able to do our formulate our IT architecture, we can do so. Okay. Then we also have strategy implementation, cost justification, define change management, action plan, evaluation and follow up, and control. All these are going to come into your implementation. So your net present value, your return on investment, your break even, all these financial models will play a very key role. Your business case, your BSP, which is the business systems planning, all of them will play a key role. Thank you. Now, your strategic plan to operational plan begins with one, assessing the organization strategic plan and the IT infrastructure, and then setting up your long range goals, describing how the IT infrastructure and the major initiatives will be achieved. It has to do with 3 objectives. One, alignment with the organization strategic plan. Number 2, the IT architecture seamlessly, an IT architecture seamlessly networking users, and then what application database, so integration. And then last one, efficient allocation of IS development resources along competing of projects on time within budget and with required functionality. So allocation tool plays a very key role here. Then your operational plan, the clear set of projects that will be executed to make the plan become what into fruition. One is the mission of the IS function. Another one is the IS environment, that information needs of the functional areas, objectives and the constraints of the IS function, what you need in terms of technology, finance, and personnel. Application portfolio, which application am I going to deploy at what time? And then resource allocation, project management. Who does what and when and how? Okay. So we have a strategic plan and we need to operationalize it. Our next steps will be to be able to understand how to get them done. There are inputs and there are outputs for these things. First of all, before you can be able to develop your strategic plan, you need to be able to understand the internal business environment and external business environment, and then the internal IT environment and external IT environment. All of them matter. What is the internal business environment? Where is the organization going? What is the culture of the organization? What are the processes? What is the organizational objectives? What's the external business environment? What's the economic conditions in the country? What's the social cultural environment we are in? What are the legal issues within the environment, and how does it affect what you want to do? Then the IT environment, in the kind of business that you are in, internally, what do you have? What skill sets do you have? What resources do you have? And how does it cover the business? Skills, infrastructure, application portfolio, you have to do that one. Then externally, your competitors, like other universities that are in the market, What are they doing that you are not doing through technology? You may ask that one. What do they have? What's the typical classroom? I was in KUST last week and I saw that they have a classroom that can sit 1,800 with state-of-the-art technology in there. 1,800 people. And the seats are very comfortable. I was surprised. In fact, I was literally surprised. Everybody seemed able to sit comfortable with giant screens. So, and they even have smaller ones too, which are also big. So I think one which is around 500. Yeah. The business school has very good equipment and then and infrastructure. And I was really, I respected them when I went there. Good. So you start seeing that you have to look at do you have internally and what do you have externally in the business environment. Okay, the outputs, an IT management strategy will be done, a business IA strategy will be done, and applications portfolios per unit. So for the marketing department, what application will we develop for them to be able to align with the model that the firm is running or the model that's within the marketing department. And then there will be an IT strategy, policies and strategies for managing technology and specialist resources. So there are inputs and there are outputs. Mhm. Now, Nolan and McFarland gives us a way to do it by bringing this particular framework. Next week, we'll discuss all these framework. We'll look at the Nolan's and McFarland framework, and then we'll go ahead to look at sample strategic documents and analyze them too. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you,
Thank
Prof.
you, Prof.
Yeah. Remember, what class do you have? The next class you have. Hey,
Prof, please, I have a question.
people are clapping plaint. Are you clapping for me or you're clapping for yourselves? That you were able to survive the class. Yes, Idima, ask your question.
So my question has to do with the video we watched at the beginning of the class.
Yes, please.
So during the explanation, they cited an example or an incident where BBC lost a certain amount of money over a failed IT policy.
Yeah, we'll be
Yes.
discussing that next week. Yeah, but you can go ahead.
Oh, okay. So my question has to do with our scenario we chose. We are doing an IT policy with similar framework like a failed public sector policy, and we are trying to develop a new one. So do you have to include the previous losses in your current policy when you are developing it or drafting it?
A policy will not have the losses per se in it, but the losses is an instant that happened. The policy is much more something that is kind of a document that will go beyond the organization, the time that you are in. So policy is more generic, not more specific. What you're talking about is a specific issue that happened. But somebody can use that what happened as a background to happen. And because
Okay.
of this that happened, we are now building this. But I will not want to put it out. The policy is more prescriptive about what you where you want no, I say prescriptive, more descriptive of what you want to achieve. Then is the standards are more prescriptive. So we don't usually put statistics and those things there unless you're establishing the background. Look at the online when you go to Sakai, please take your time and look at some of the examples I put there. Have you seen it? Let me
Yes,
check.
please.
Yes. Do you see me giving background statistics about something in the past? No.
No, please.
Not an organization. But if they are trying to establish a business case, the cover letter that is covering the policy can have that. That one is true.
Okay,
For
Prof.
example, I'm going to present it to senior management for approval. The cover letter that will have the policy will do that. Yeah.
Okay, Prof. Thank you very much. Then
Okay.
also, Prof, last one. Next week is in person, so please will you be available or we'll do online?
Okay. Have you discussed with the other lecturers?
Yes, we've discussed with Professor Erica Fodazi, and he said he will be there in person
And what time do you have him?
Friday evening.
Oh, that's Friday. I'm talking about the Saturday. My class was Saturday.
Yes, please. Saturday we have strategic management IA interim assessments for 10 a.m. Yes.
Yeah, and at 10 a.m.
Yes,
And
that's
that's
in person.
okay.
Yes,
So
please.
you have to prepare for the IE.
Yes, Prof.
Okay. Anyway, there are two things that can happen. Either we
Okay, Prof.
reschedule a class so that you can spend that Saturday to do your things, or what can happen is that I can ask that I don't know whether you are for others are back. They are back for the seminar today.
I'm
So
yet to receive confirmation.
yes, I'm also not rush. And usually when it comes face to face, they don't do the seminar. Do you
Okay.
realize? Yeah. What time will the other class have their test?
It's a joint class.
Oh, so you do a joint class and then write the test.
Yes,
Oh,
please.
and after that, then what happens?
Then we have project management.
With who?
Professor Jennifer.
And what has he said?
Also yet to receive confirmation. You are the first class we've had, so I usually bring it up after class.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay. And that one is a joint class.
No, please, it's a separate class. But
Okay. So me, I put me in a very difficult position because I have another class.
you, Prof, you can just later you can update me and I'll share with the class. That's fine.
Okay.
Yes,
Me,
please.
it will be flexible for people to go and do this thing, but I still want to meet with you. So I want to know the best time I can meet with you guys, maybe together as a class, and so that we can cover the latter part of the strategic distance. So which can be done in within an hour or two. So, but I don't want you to do it in the throes of going to write an exam. Your mind will not be here. Mhm. Your mind will be test, and you people will not pay attention. Even when it's not test, you don't pay attention. How much more when it's a test, you are writing an I class.
Oh, Prof, you can come. We'll pay attention. We'll pay attention. But you,
Yeah.
anything you decide, please kindly let me know.
But in the morning, what does the other class have?
I think they should be having software engineering.
Oh, okay.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I'm not deciding what will happen. Okay, so maybe by the time we meet in the at evening, we'll know what to do.
Okay, please. Thank you very much.
By the time we'll know what to do. Okay. Thank you very much, Tom. Okay. So class, thank you. We'll see you next week, depending on what the outcome is. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof.